so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome back into the Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. MASLsoccer.com is your home for everything Major Arena Soccer League, all the latest news, leaderboards, highlights, and more. Peyton Barron's Eric Bergerud here as we are here on a beautiful crossover weekend. The Tacoma Stars, the Kansas City Comets, so much good interplay between the two sides and even in the broadcast booth. Eric, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Hey, thanks so much for having me here, Peyton. You gave me like traditional Pacific Northwest weather to greet me coming into the arena, and fun crowd here tonight, great people. It's great to be here. It's been way too long, 40 years since I've been to a Tacoma Stars game up here, so.
That's incredible. Well, we're glad to have you back. I notice you're not wearing flannel. You don't have Starbucks in your hand. So you're not doing Seattle or the Pacific Northwest the correct way, as they would say.
I'm not, and I'm also not wearing red because I figured I'm a guest with the Tacoma Stars, so I went neutral colors, figuring that would be appropriate for tonight.
Well, hey, maybe we got some Pearl Jam in store and we can really kick this thing off the right way with the Northwest.
We could.
Welcome in. So we have the Tacoma Stars, the Kansas City Comets. Eric, this is a big game, both sides. I think that Tacoma needs this weekend a little bit more. Kansas City booked their tickets to the playoffs. They're going to be down in San Diego. Tacoma scrapping, fighting, sitting down near that 8th spot. Wins with Milwaukee today is going to stretch that out a little bit more. Tacoma truly is fighting for 8th. What's going to be the biggest key here for either of these sides to come out victorious with 3 points?
Well, let's talk about Tacoma first, the home team. As you said, they need this more than Kansas City. They're sitting on the 8th seed right now, but St. Louis is nipping at their heels. To use an old expression, St. Louis has a couple games in Texas this coming week, so Tacoma needs to grab as many points as they can this weekend. For Kansas City, injury bug is hit, as well as the flu bug. Although it says illness, I'm guessing it's flu, but quite a number of the traditional players you would expect to see on the Comets didn't make the trip to the Pacific Northwest, so Tacoma's got to leverage every opportunity they can. I think the team that does transition better tonight is going to win the game.
Exciting stuff. And let's talk about goalkeeping, because anytime that you're playing for the Tacoma Stars, you know you have Chris Toth in the net that you have to deal with, one of the best that MASL has ever seen. On the other side of things, Neto getting the start tonight in the opening leg of this doubleheader, two-city weekend. What's that going to look like for Kansas City with Neto between the sticks, and how does that fare for them on the road?
Well, you have two all-star goalkeepers. Chris Toth was selected an all-star but couldn't play because he got hurt. Nicolau Neto did play in the all-star game in Utica. I don't think when Kansas City alternates goalkeepers, there's no drop-off. You have basically two starters there. For Tacoma, I thought they did well without Toth in the last couple of games. I kind of joked with him when I got into the arena that he had an extended Caribbean vacation. They did okay without him, but he's so quality not only defensively, but you know he can score goals too, and so it's going to be interesting to see how he factors into the offense here tonight.
Moments away from kickoff. Exciting one on hand. Tacoma at home, 6-4-1. Kansas City on the road, 5-3-1. So very similar records for these two matching up locationally head-to-head right now. Tacoma coming off of a very successful Texas two-step earlier this week, hoping that they can ride that momentum. Nick Pereira is in the center circle to get things underway. The Tacoma Stars are wearing that triple blue with the classic traditional Argyle. Kansas City is rocking the triple white kits, and we are just about set to go. One more pause, maybe taking a look at the ball. You love to see just quick changes, right? Everyone's ready to go, and we're going to get one more momentary pause.
Build some drama and excitement here for the home fans.
For the Tacoma Stars starting five right now, Nick Pereira, Chase Hansen, Mike Ramos, Alex Caceres, Nani Mendoza are the five outfield players. Caceres, he's been a marksman lately. Shots from distance, shots from the top of the arc, and he's been able to place those into the top corners. Neto, first touch early in the opening 10 seconds.
Mendoza had a good season against Kansas City last year too. Just you have to look for those moments and look to see which players are going to take advantage of them. And Tacoma has so many of them who could step up tonight.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was in Kansas City with a shootout, and Nani Mendoza had his own number called maybe 3 times in that shootout, was successful 3 for 3.
Right in front of the broadcast booth, so we got a great view of it too that evening.
Ball pushed up the boards. This is Tyler John. He's coming off of a Player of the Week nod, Defensive Player of the Week in MASL. You hear Romero can't connect a pass forward. This is Vandergriff. And Neto's dumped behind the play. Foul's going to be called. Tyler John, he's a physical player. He's a fast player. A little late on that challenge. Not what you want to see out of Tyler John. He's going to have a quick conversation here. But that's not something you want to do with the goalkeeper out.
But I like the challenging the goalkeeper out there because a giveaway, and Tacoma was off to the races.
Tyler John leads the Tacoma Stars in goals on the season. He's definitely having a breakout year. Logan Jones in battle. He gets dumped to the ground by Reggett.
Reggett's wearing the captain's armband tonight. Captain Nacho Flores back home in Kansas City.
Quick restart. Toth is going to take some space forward slowly. Tries to look over the top for Adrian Correa. Correa battling. And a good chested back ball from Pereira. That's Eric Pereira.
Not to be confused with Nick Pereira.
Souza gets bodies as he's trying to shield that ball. That's Kyle Gregg, who's going to play a little physical with our very own Felipe Souza.
Kyle Gregg's first game for Kansas City. Used to play in the Vancouver Whitecaps organization, so there may be a few Stars fans who've seen him from time to time.
A little familiar with the Pacific Northwest. Here's Pereira, Nick Pereira that is. Ball down into the corner. Ramos, ball under his foot. You can see him at all times. Bright purple shoes on Mike Ramos. You know, I miss the bright hair that Mike Ramos used to have. Some days it was red, others it was pink. Every single week it seemed like Mike Ramos was showing up with a new hairdo. Long diagonal ball, Toth to Pereira. Pereira with the brace on the left knee. Had some leg issues, injuries earlier this season. He's been wearing that brace ever since. He missed about 3 or 4 games. So it seems that the brace has been helping. This is Yahir Romero, the new pickup midway through the season from the Dallas Sidekicks.
Voted Offensive Player of the Week in Major Arena Soccer League last week.
Takes a left-footed shot, misses out, gets it back from Caceres.
I told owner Lane Smith on the field that Romero may be the steal of all the flurry of activities that took place right before the trade deadline.
And if not him, it might be Mijatovic to Kansas City. I mean, electric player, Stefan Mijatovic.
Had a big game last week in Kansas City against the Milwaukee Wave.
So we're through the opening 3 minutes. Neither side able to rattle a real great chance at goal. Here's Reggett battling Jones again. Ball centered, back post. Toth lets it go by. Rivers for Spur now. Chaos avoided just slightly, and then Chris Toth cleans up. Maybe an opportunity for a 2-on-1. Spur, cross court for Souza. Souza left foot strike. Neto with a foot save into the net.
And again, the transition game, whichever team figures this out, I think that's the team that's going to be successful at the end of the night.
If you got a goalkeeper like Chris Toth throwing dimes like that out ahead for Willie Spur, fast runners could be successful for Tacoma. Now the transition game, I don't think really benefits a guy like Nick Pereira, multi-time, reigning MVP. He likes to slow build up that long ball off the boards. So anytime we talk transition play and that being the key, I don't know if that ever benefits the Tacoma Stars with Nick Pereira's play style.
But when you have other players out there making those runs, there's speed on this Tacoma team.
Absolutely. Pereira runs over it. Gets it from Caceres. This is Romero. Mendoza. Romero. There's a speedy 5 unit. Usually it's the power kill +1 here. Adrian Correa, Logan Jones, Tyler John. I mean, you add Jamel Cox into that. It's hard to find a faster 5 on the floor than those guys. Mendoza battles and gets this ball off the boards. This is Correa. Pereira, bottom of your screen. Couldn't get past the defender. Outlet ball now. Here's a good transition for the Kansas City Comets coming down the field. Toth is out of his net. Header off the glass to himself. Plays this to the top side. It was Pino who was pressuring. And now Chris Toth with an easy roll into his hands.
You won't see that show up in the score sheet, but to have a veteran goalkeeper who can take on a defender like that, easily take the ball away from him, it's huge.
Souza plays a ball into the corner, bounces off of our referee. Part of the field of play. Souza's just got to play through that. He's a little frustrated they didn't get the favorable bounce. Stars bench wanted a goalkeeping handling too long in the box back there. They're not going to get that call this early. Greg turns. Settled and reset. Vandergriff all the way back for Neto. Crosses over the yellow line, goes long. Caceres wins a header. He's got Tyler John forward. Jones scans, he assesses. Torres wide open. The Panamanian hero, famously qualified Panama for the 2018 Russia World Cup with a goal late. Knocked the U.S. out of contention for that World Cup. This is Briscoe. Briscoe wins one challenge. Vandergriff comes sliding through, and we see blue immediately. That's a heavy challenge. Briscoe is in pain.
And I think some of the Tacoma players wanted a blue and a yellow on that for the severity, but look on the replay here. Vandergriff just came in late, got the back leg. Tacoma Stars on the power play.
Now, Tacoma has not been all that successful on the power play so far this season. One of the worst in the league, actually, that we've seen. Below 30% success rate when it comes to the man-up situations.
And I would tell you that Kansas City has been exceptional on the power play kill, but what do they say about the announcer's curse? You never know what's going to happen now. Yeah, I think some concern here about Briscoe. That was a hard tackle, and the Tacoma bench did not like that one bit.
And while these two sides go to their bench and Briscoe gets treatment, let's take a break, step aside. We'll come back with the power play just after this. 9:05 to play in the first quarter. Tacoma Stars 0, Kansas City Comets 0. You're watching this on MASL TV.
We have a major penalty, 2 minutes plus 5 minutes.
Welcome back into the Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. Peyton Barron's, Eric Berger here as the Tacoma Stars 0-0 at the Kansas City Comets. While we were away, it was assessed as a major penalty plus the 2-minute blue card. So it's going to be a 5-on-4. Chad Vandergrift is going to have to sit for a minimum 5 guaranteed minutes, and the Tacoma Stars will be on the power play for 2 minutes. Eric, that's the right call?
It was the right call. Late tackle. Happened right in front of the Tacoma bench, so if there was any doubt that the referees might listen, I don't think that was going to happen. It was the right call.
Tacoma up a man. This is Caceres. Romero to his left. Excuse me, this is Mendoza. Romero's to his right. Herrera. Herrera's pass intercepted for just a moment. That was well done. Good scramble from Christian Andreas.
You'll get to see his hairstyle here in the next quarter. It's something to behold.
I can't wait to get a better look. Herrera goes square. Caceres. Romero. Patient play here for the Tacoma Stars. 60 seconds through the power play. Romero with a strike. It's too high for Mendoza. He thought about a header. Tacoma, I think this season, scored on more headers than I've ever seen in a singular MASL season. They're really teeing up that ball to the back post for a header run.
Actually seen more header goals this year across the league than I can remember in recent years.
Mendoza played a saucer pass looking for Pereira. 30 seconds left in this power play. Romero off the boards, looking for Pereira. Again, a second-time effort as that ball bounced back to him. Caceres, not a great angle for him to look at the clock to see he's only got 20 seconds left. Mendoza. Caceres. Didn't have enough space to tee up the left footer. 10 seconds. Romero with some space, and the strike's too high. The Tacoma Stars really only got one clean opportunity there. I don't know if that's an efficient use of the 2 minutes. And that takes us into the media timeout. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick break at 0-0 here at the Showwear Center. You're watching the Tacoma Stars and the Kansas City Comets on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Green Drop offers a better alternative than the outdated compression sleeves and socks, truly providing long-lasting relief at an affordable price. Green Drop's recovery products are uniquely suited to help our athletes battling aching joints and muscles. Learn more or try it for yourself by visiting greendropcompression.com. Peyton Barron's, Eric Berger here. Kansas City Comets 0, Tacoma Stars 0, but Kansas City just fought off a power play opportunity for the Tacoma Stars. Joe Wainwright set to come out of the box, as Chad Vandergrift still has to sit as he racked up a major plus the blue card. So an extra long sit in the sin bin for him, Eric.
Well, and hurts the Comets because he may be the Defensive Player of the Year in the Major Arena Soccer League, so they'll miss his leadership out there. But next man up has been the story here for the Kansas City Comets.
Neto with a bad interception, turnover. Hansen went off the boards. Tyler John followed it up. It might be the longest Wallace scorer you'll ever see. Chase Hansen dialed that one up from Walla Walla, Washington, and he found Tyler John.
Giveaway, shot off the boards, Walla, score, fans love it. And that Walla Walla, that was priceless. Flip that one.
I've been waiting for the most perfect opportune time for a name drop of Walla Walla, Washington for a Walla Scora. And Chase Hansen, he helped me deliver. Oh, a beautiful opener for the Tacoma Stars, just under the 7-minute mark, just out of that power play opportunity. The Tacoma Stars find the opener. Correa called for a foul in the corner.
Obviously, Nicola Neto is going to want this back, but you have to take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves during the game, and Tacoma did just that.
Hansen nearly had himself a goal dialed up from deep. Strike, it hits off Briscoe's chest. This is Palmer in the corner. Reggett went airborne in front of Toth to keep it alive for the Comets. Ball played up the boards. Tyler John still pressing.
He was Defensive Player of the Week last week. Scored a lot of goals as Defensive Player of the Week.
He does it all. Toth settled that ball awkwardly. The red challenge flag is on the field. Briscoe tried to go forward. I think that this one's going to come back. Chris Toth settled that one kind of where the hip, the thigh, and maybe the hand met, all at his waist level. And we're going to get video review here to see if Chris Toth handled that ball. Eric, opening thoughts on that one?
Yeah, head referee was right there. He saw it. He motioned to his leg and said it hit his leg. It always befuddles me using the challenge flag when the referee is like 8 feet away. And so he's going to have to take a look at it and decide, oh, and that's Kia Depana.
Kansas City review
what
for
I
handball
saw
outside of the penalty
live
area.
a few feet in front of me wasn't what I really saw. So it's early to use the challenge flag, but Comets players all throughout the field were raising their hands saying handball, handball. And I think Coach Stefan Stokic said, okay, let's change the momentum in this game. If it doesn't pan out for them, they've lost their challenge flag for the entire game.
And I mean, I don't want to read too much into bench body language, but Luis Beretta is up and stretching. Maybe Chris Toth is indicating that, hey, that did hit off my hand. Luis, get ready for this. I don't know if we get a great angle to be able to tell if that's off the hand.
So it bounced off his leg first. You could say his arm was making his body longer, but it absolutely hit his thigh first. And Kia is right there. Maybe he's a few more than 5 feet away from it, but he had a really good view at it live. So I'm just curious to see what he's going to see on replay that he didn't see right in front of him.
I think that this is going to be the determining angle.
Zach Reggett immediately said handball. Kia, you can't see it on camera, but he pointed to his thigh saying, oh, no, it hit his leg.
I think it's also that's a great shot too. If it is going to be called for handling, Chris Toth is outside of the area, so we shouldn't be seeing a shootout opportunity anywhere inside that goalkeeping box. So that's going to be set as a free kick just outside of the area.
Conversation there between Guerrero Pino and Zach Reggett and Chris Toth. He's like, look at the replay. It hit my leg first.
You know, I think one thing I love about MASL is the camaraderie between these guys, and night in, night out, they battle on the field, but these guys, during dead times, during stalls of play, they can sit around, have a laugh, talk about what's happening, and they are able to separate the gameplay and the personal relationships with one another.
Well, and generally before the game or after the game, they'll hang around, pal around, say hello. It's all one big family.
And we got a decision made.
After review, the call on the field stance, no handball. The ball came off the knee
call on the field
to the
stands,
chest.
no handball. Chris Toth will not be receiving a blue card and going off to the penalty box. A use of a challenge flag that early, and when you lose it, when you lose the challenge, you lose the flag for the rest of the game. If you win it, you get one back. An early moment in today's game to not have a challenge for the remainder of it.
No, and I get it. My philosophy is more hold it until you absolutely need it, but I've just seen this throughout this year. Calls that are right in front of the referee are almost never overturned, because if they're right in front of it and they call it live, it's going to be hard for them to see something on video that they didn't see right there. I can get it if it's behind the play, and none of the referees saw it, but Kia had a pretty good view there in real time.
And we got some darn good referees in this league who, they're confident in their calls that they are making in real time. I love the aspect of video review, just to clear up anything, make sure that the right call gets used on the field. Here's a great ball into the middle of the box. Spur comes all the way back to shut down the opportunity that Wainwright was cooking up. Ramos outlets for Pereira, but Neto's off his line.
And that's a different way you do transition with Pereira. He holds on offense, doesn't come back, and then tries to get in behind the defense on the counter.
This is Greg. Puts it on his left foot. Square pass. Settled and brought all the way back out. Tetsane made a cutting run through the middle. Here's an open chance. He's got a strike. It's wide. That was Pino. Tetsane. Shot blocked by Pereira. Left foot ball inward. Toth comes out for it. Tetsane and Kai Briscoe played together for Ballard FC. Those two former teammates there. Tetsane, a massive, a critical part to that national championship team that Ballard FC put together just a season ago.
He was captain there too, right?
He was. And it's great. USL League 2, right? You get a lot of players who are there after college or during college playing in the summer. Let's say Tetsane got called into his national team while playing for Ballard FC. I mean, not very often does a USL League 2 player get called in for national team duty, but Tetsane did, and an amazing thing to see during his time at Ballard FC. Here's Briscoe. Battling in the middle. Kazim played back. DeBray Holloman on the field. He's wearing the 91. This is him under possession. Former Tacoma Star. Reggett with a strike. Toth, he got two hands to it, but it slipped through. Briscoe's going to play off the windows. Rivers gets a touch before Holloman does. And here's Reggett again. He's going to wait for this. Hansen with a shove on Reggett into the wall, and it's going to be a Comets free kick. Reggett's going to ask for the wall to be set at the appropriate distance. Good strategy there to make sure that his timer resets.
So what's interesting, the Comets are missing a couple players on set piece.
Strike goes far post, misses out.
Nacho Flores typically would take free kicks. He's not here tonight. Neither is Stefan Mijatovic.
Ball over the top. Toth off of his line catches. And it's tough when you have two players like of such good quality. Briscoe fouled in the middle, especially over the top of free kicks. And it's nights that the Tacoma Stars don't have Nick Pereira. Maybe he's sitting on the back-to-back trying to rest the knee. Those kind of nights, the Tacoma Stars have to kind of scramble just a bit to figure out who's on the top of free kicks.
Right. Well, and a couple other players you might see down closer to goal out too. And so a makeshift unit there for the Comets on the special teams. We'll see whether they make any adjustments the rest of the game.
Mendoza plays back for Caceres. A little bit of high press here from the Comets late in this first quarter. Correa, diagonal ball. Souza couldn't get a touch on it. Mendoza, if he won it, he had Tyler John forward. Correa with a good deflection. That's Palmer in the middle. Ramon Palmer, he's wearing a new number tonight. He's got 49 on his back. Here's Palmer. Carries forward. Palmer looks, goes to his right for Reggett. Off the wall. Mendoza settles. Souza, a low ball up the board action. Finds John back to back. John, he's got speed. He's got Souza to his right. He goes off the wall. Souza went flying. Caceres on the half volley. Didn't catch it clean. Deflected away. Correa under pressure, and the Stars reset out the back.
Well, Tacoma's decided tonight we're going to run with Kansas City. We're going to lead players up like Tyler John, and we'll look for those 2-on-1, 3-on-2 opportunities.
Souza plays off the wall to a cutting Correa. Correa, John to the left. Correa strikes. Correa scores. Correa had opportunities the last time the Stars were at home. Talking to him postgame, he regretted not being selfish and taking the shot. There he is, learning from his mistakes, hammers the shot, and he gives himself another tally on the season. Well done, Adrian Correa.
Great pass off the boards. Correa's like, is anybody going to come out? Nobody came out, and he went top shelf. Nothing Neto could do. Absolute rocket. He ripped it. 2-0 for the home team.
Great build-up. Adrian Correa. Electric player to watch. Just his third goal on the season. And we're back underway. Stars a 2-0 lead. Kansas City, they've definitely had their chances so far in this first quarter. Here's maybe another one. Chris Toth out of his area, plays up the wall short. This ball gets sent all the way across Reggett. He beat Jones to the ball. Here's a strike from distance, just missing out wide. It's Palma. Neto goes long. Reggett the target. Reggett falling to the ground. Toth does just enough the first time. He's out of his area. Rivers with a bad foul. And I don't know, you might have a case for a blue card in a situation like that. The blue card is now shown late. Rivers is in a situation where Chris Toth is out of his net scrambling. He tries to do an NBA-style take foul there, and he's going to end up in the penalty box for 2 minutes. I mean, I think that's the right call every single day of the week.
Well, good call there, Peyton, because they waited and thought about it, and then they pulled out the two. You occasionally see that happen. It's going to be interesting for Kansas City. Again, a makeshift unit here on the power play. An opportunity here for them to try to pull one back, but
We have 2
Tacoma
minutes time penalty for tripping.
has some quality guys out there on the penalty kill.
Tyler John, Adrian Correa in the wall. Caceres and Jones sag just beneath it. Tetsane and Reggett are to the right of the free kick here for the Kansas City Comets. Palmer scans, looks, tries to go wide. Jones cuts it off. Be on the lookout here. Tyler John and Adrian Correa. Between the two of them, they have 3 shorthanded goals. Tyler John, one of the only players in the league with 2 shorthanded goals this season. Reggett, top of your screen.
So Kansas City likes to put their left-footed players on the right side so they can shoot across, and then the right-footed players on the left side.
This is Reggett, that left footer. Looking, scanning, directing traffic. Caceres got a quick little toe poke. Tetsane plays a little back and forth game with Palmer. Reggett looks to put on his left. Jones sticks a foot in it. It goes up over the netting. 1 minute left in the first quarter. 52 seconds left in the power play. And finally, Chad Vandergrift is out of the penalty box.
A long stretch, but he had to wait for a guaranteed substitution, and Kansas City will try it one more time here.
Reggett at the yellow line. Caceres dummies it for Toth. Tyler John goes on a sprint. He releases. He's in the one-on-one with Tetsane. Here's Jones. Jones has space. Jones with a strike. Neto saves it. Jones over the top. John goes and battles in the corner. Logan Jones missed out on a fabulous opportunity.
Big save there from Neto. Otherwise, Tacoma would have been humming.
Toth makes a near post save. Ball not cleared confidently. Toth again. Toth comes out for the second time effort. It funnels up the boards. 5 seconds on the power play. Tetsane. Reggett. Left foot strike, and it's too high. The Tacoma Stars survive. Both teams 1 for 1 on the penalty kill tonight.
And Nicolau Neto came up big on his end, but Chris Toth, multiple saves, and I like the way he plays aggressively outside his box. And he's so confident with his feet, no problems there.
Chase Hansen frustrated. A challenge flag is thrown onto the field. The Stars,
They're wanting too many men on the field is what it looked like.
animated as ever. We'll see if we get this challenge before everything settles and before we head off to a break.
I think we've seen in games throughout the league, on these challenges, if it's for too many men on the field, it depends on what the camera angles are. If you have a camera angle that shows all the players, particularly by the bench, you're more apt to win your challenge. Otherwise, the referees are at the
Tacoma
mercy of what they
challenge
can see.
for too many men.
And so the other thing that I'm curious about too is if this challenge is successful, how much time gets added back onto the clock here before the first quarter ends?
Well, they can look to see if they've got the clock running on the replay with this. And so let's take a look at the replay there. Right now,
So this
Toski getting ready for a goalkeeper distribution.
and this camera angle is not going to show us a whole lot of how many men are on the
1,
field.
2, 3, 4. There's a player trying to come off right there. 1, 2, 3. You can surmise that they had too many men, but it doesn't show another player in the back. But seeing a player come off like right at the end there, a little telling.
Let's see how many more camera angles a referee crew can scan.
Yeah, I think there's if you pan both directions, I think you can see 6.
So Tacoma would end up going a man up. Kansas City would have to send somebody over to the penalty box to serve a 2-minute blue card. Looks like a decision's been made. After this decision, we may be going into a commercial break in between quarters, or we may be getting a game restart with 1 second left on the clock. We shall see. The in-house microphone not working for the moment.
I didn't see a blue card come out.
And so with no blue card shown, I believe that we have inconclusive evidence. And I think with that, I am confident enough to say, let's go to break, Eric. I think that indicates that we will not be seeing a blue card situation for too many men on the field. When we come back, we'll have second quarter action. Right after this, it's the Tacoma Stars 2, the Kansas City Comets 0. You're watching MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Excesso Show.
Welcome back into the Excesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. The second quarter ready to restart. They used that video challenge break in lieu of our quarter break, so we apologize for cutting the commercial early. Peyton Barron's Eric Bergerud here. Eric, the color commentator and voice of the Kansas City Comets. Thanks so much for joining us. You made the road trip with the Kansas City Comets. We're so lucky to have you out here, so thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate that. It's fun to be up here. Great atmosphere here. And Tacoma, good start to the game, and they need 3 points. They have St. Louis ambush wanting to grab that 8th seed in the playoffs.
Toth with a quick distribution. This is Rivers. Rivers, he faced a blue card. He's being defended by Vandergriff. And Vandergriff also sat 2 minutes. 2 minutes extended, excuse me, plus a major. He had himself quite the trip to the penalty box. Correa wins this ball in the middle. This is John. John puts it on his left, misses out wide. Rivers. Pushed to the ground near the boards. Play continues. Here's Reggett. I don't know if he's going to outpace Briscoe, but he can out-physical him. Reggett wants it on his left. He goes for that near post upper bins. Missed it. Correa clears. This ball bounces just so neatly off the wall in favor of Tacoma. Here's John into the attack. A little back and forth. John with a strike. Neto with a foot save. Pins it. Tyler John can't believe it.
Thought he had him beat near post, and Neto just has a way to get his legs out.
Palmer settles this ball off the wall. Here's a great run. Diving in. Maybe a missed strike opportunity. Palmer tries to go for the overhead kick. Toth makes a great save. This is Pereira, and maybe things slow down just for the moment. What an opening 90 seconds we had to the second quarter.
Back and forth action. Kyle Gregg was open on the side. I don't think that Danny Malhus saw him. Kind of was in between thoughts and lost possession.
Toth has to just dump something diagonally. He had nothing ahead of him. Spur goes off the windows. Not a whole lot back post, and Pino with a clean header back for Neto.
These teams will see each other a lot this weekend. Both teams headed to Kansas City for a Sunday afternoon kickoff. Looking forward to calling that one on MASL TV on YouTube.
Trouble up the boards. Wainwright into a double team. Wainwright centers. Torres plays with Spur. I like to think on the travel back between these two games that you get a lot of inner seat changes with all these sides, and maybe I hope Zach Reggett finds himself in between. Maybe Nick Pereira and Chris Toth. Here's Yahir Romero. He goes down after a push. I don't know if they'll be sitting next to each other on the plane.
I think they're, based on what I've heard, I think they're on separate flights. It's not uncommon, though, to see teams make that same flight together when they play each other twice in a weekend.
That's disheartening. I like to imagine that all these guys are just sitting next to each other on the same flight. The night after battling one another at the ShoWare Center, they get a nice 3.5-hour, 4-hour chit-chat on the way down to Cable Dahmer Arena. Pereira with a strike off the shins of the wall. Ramos runs all the way back to chase this guy down. Mendoza, a good pullback to try and get away from Holloman. Holloman repositions himself well. Here's a turnover. Pino plays forward. Holloman. Toth comes out. Toth might be beat. Ball into the center of the box. It's thighed back to Toth. Man, he's covering a lot of ground on his defensive third.
But that's his game. That's his style. And Tacoma, the players around him accept that style and embrace that style. And he's one of the best of his generation.
Here's Pereira in a forward position. He lays back. Mendoza with a strike. It's into Holloman's legs. Pereira just tried to hit something hard. It ended up going square across and over into the side wall. Jones dumps for Souza forward. Maybe a 2-on-1. Souza couldn't get up fast enough. Tetsane recovers. Souza, top of the arc with a strike. It's deflected away.
You just kicked that ball. Good things couldn't happen because all it takes is a deflection off a defender and you're up 3-0.
Spur tries to play one off the windows, and Neto climbs the ladder to catch it. Souza. Strike goes over the board, excuse me. It was Reggett along the wall. Souza went in on a challenge. I thought that might got picked up as a foul. Ball swung around and the shot just too high.
Referees, for the most part, are letting them play. I appreciate that. Anything egregious, they're pulling out the cards, which is fine with me too.
Jones settles underneath. Correa can't connect with Tyler John. Chad Vandergrift just bodies him out of the way. Pereira's ball for Vandergrift. Vandergrift tries to just recenter it off the wall. Ramos couldn't get a good soul roll on it. Quick breakout opportunity. This is Dirtle.
Good job on the press, though, by Tacoma. Almost got themselves a goal that last time.
Spur for John. Right-footed shot. It's pushed up over the top by Neto. Now it's reset. Pereira's header back for Neto. There's no quit in Tyler John. I mean, that man is full sprint the entire game every time that he's on the pitch. Correa off the wall for Toth. Vandergrift fouled by Rivers. Pereira tried to go onto the field maybe too early. Nobody came off for a sub. There was no shouts for too many men on the field as he was right inside that door. But Toth was looking to play him down the line, and that's why that ball went long there.
Well, and even if it were a potential to, both teams have used their challenge flags right now, so we've moved beyond that stage of the game.
You know, I kind of like this. We are now back to the old school aspect of no video review, I guess, unless initiated by a referee. But we were playing with the human error aspect, the human element of refereeing for the rest of the night. Here's a strike from distance. Toth with a quick little push save. Torres drops to a knee to thigh it back. Souza on the release. And he gets dropped into the boards by Palma. Palma's going to go for a change.
And once again, Toth gets the ball. He looks immediately upfield. Kansas City has to be a little bit more disciplined defensively because they're losing sight of these players that are just kind of like holding near the yellow line. Great opportunities so far for Tacoma as they look to beat the Kansas City Comets in these odd man situations.
I know the Seattle Seahawks just signed Sam Darnold on a pretty team-friendly deal, but I think Chris Toth is putting on quite the audition for a starting quarterback for those Seattle Seahawks.
Could be a place kicker, too. It just depends on where you need him.
Pereira and Caceres over this ball. Caceres, the left footer. This ball is pinned up against the wall. It'd be a little tough for Caceres to get on. So Pereira rolls it out. Caceres shoots it wide. Ramos follow-up effort, and it's too high.
You mentioned the trip out from Kansas City. There's a watch party. Comets Nation is actually tonight watching at Gales Public House and Sports. Hope there's a good turnout tonight. Have a pint for me while you're at it.
Make it two.
There you go.
DeBray Holloman played up the wall by Neto. Neto's feet can't be used. Holloman from Vandergrift gets it back. Jones is going to cut it off. This is Ramos. Stars maybe have a 3-on-2 brewing. Tyler John, little sly flick, but just misses out. That was crafty. Transition play going the other way. Jones just gets his body in front of Kyle Gregg, the runner on.
And so what Tacoma's been doing so far all this game is dropping a forward behind the Comets back line, and it's working. And so we'll see how Kansas City adjusts to this. But Tyler John in space, watch out.
Striker playing in behind the defender. It's like Ruud van Nistelrooy back in the day for Manchester United. Stand in what would be an offside position in the outdoor game constantly. Make that slight checking run. Luckily in the indoor game, no offside. Tyler John sits in behind that defense and tries to find that long ball. Here's Pereira now. Gets this from Toth. Thought he had it cutting Hansen. Slows it down. Here's Caceres on the reset. Stars go for a pair of changes. Correa and Souza onto the field. Crossfield pass. Briscoe runs onto it. Briscoe goes back across. Neto wiped out the feet of Briscoe. The Stars are going to have a foul in a very fortunate position. Neto calls for a dive. No video review to go back on this.
No video review, and there's two types of fouls in the box. Ones that result in penalty kicks and ones that don't. They're going to call that a simple foul. Tacoma obviously would have preferred a 2-minute on Neto plus a penalty kick, but that's not the way it's going to go.
Top of the arc restart. Tacoma Stars still just as dangerous here. Pereira and Ramos over it. Mendoza nearby. You hear Romero is down low, and Caceres is to the top of the screen. Pereira on the run-up. Mendoza looks, goes Romero. Romero left foot strike. It's just wide and too high. Made it to the media timeout. Tacoma Stars still lead 2-0 over the Kansas City Comets. We'll step aside and be right back. You're watching Major Arena Soccer League on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Take 10. That's all the time you'll need for Eric Berger to take you inside the game and get to know some of the big stars advancing the sport on and off the field. 10 for 10 airs weekly on MASL TV, and we got a special surprise for you with Eric being in the booth tonight and 10 for 10 releasing today. We thought it's only fitting that during halftime tonight, you'll get a look at his latest 10 for 10 episode. Eric, interviewing Michael Lewis, soccer writer.
Legendary Michael Lewis, who's been writing about soccer going back to the 70s. So somebody who knows the game, knows the players. He's legendary. It was a great honor to sit down with him. But I've had players and coaches throughout the league. I sat down with Nick Pereira earlier this season. Had a conversation with him after our interview about Tacoma headed to the playoffs, and his attitude always was the Stars had a rough schedule the first half of the season. It was front-loaded with tough games. They had a chance to come in at the end, and if they wind up playing Chihuahua, he feels like Tacoma matches up well with Chihuahua when it's not at the Corner Sport Arena. They've had success here, and he feels in a neutral site game in San Diego, they'd have a chance there against Chihuahua. Then anything goes if you win that first game.
Yeah, and when you get that single elimination format, I mean, anything can happen. I agree with Nick Pereira. The way that they match up against Chihuahua outside of Mexico in the United States, and you're playing on a full-size field instead of a field that's the fraction of the size down there at Corner Sport. Here's Tyler John pushing forward. He's got Souza in support. He goes off the wall. Neto comes out for it. Pino maybe played it back, but it wasn't intentional. A great play from the defense to recover.
Comets thought, we're not giving up another Walla Walla goal. Walla score opportunity denied.
Pino plays this ball up the boards. Great veteran presence from Guerrero Pino. It's a great player to have on your back line. Just so sure-footed, solid, steady guy.
Won a few championships with the San Diego Sockers before coming back to Kansas City.
Tetsane over the center circle, plays for Pino. Long ball drops in. Spur can't play this ball forward. Here's John. Dangerous opportunity now. Wainwright goes left. Wainwright gets it back. He opens up scoring for Kansas City.
His first MASL goal.
Tip of the cap. You always remember your first. A quick turnover and build-up play, and Joe Wainwright has the Comets within one.
Give and go. Wainwright to Kazim, and he drilled that one low to Toast left. Nothing that the veteran goalkeeper could do. Comets cut the lead in half.
It's exactly what Kansas City needed. They needed to be able to cash in on that next goal.
And that's, Peyton, why you have to take advantage of your opportunities. A couple times, Tacoma could have gone up 3-0, and they didn't. Comets pull one back. Different game.
One goal game. We sit under 6 minutes away from halftime. Caceres, Ramos. Fortunate that Pereira let that ball go, but Ramos has to pull it back. He evades a triple team. Briscoe tries to get past Holloman, the veteran defender. One-ups Kai Briscoe, the rookie. Briscoe still working to try and keep this ball under possession. He's pushed into the wall. No boarding is going to be called in, resulting into a blue card, just a common foul up the boards. Pereira Pereira misses out on this header. Vandergrift brings it down.
And Pereira is always going to draw the top defenders on the other team, marking him. Seen a bit of Vandergrift on him, seen a bit of Pino on him.
That's going to be night in, night out. Put your best defender on number 10, Nick Pereira. Reggett centers this ball. Strike just off the bar. Romero's got to be careful not to get a foul called. Caceres plays up the boards. Good interception, toe poke from Eric Pereira. Toth comes out with a punch. The catch might have taken some momentum out of the area, so that's a smart play from the goalkeeper. Caceres, the thigh back for Toth. He comes out, makes the catch. Here's the long ball, Rivers. Neto's gonna come off of his line now. Rivers with a strike and a wide open goal, and it's just wide, maybe rushed it. Souza's trying to evade a double team, and now this is Neto. Correa, he's got pressure coming from two white shirts. Good battle up the boards. Ball gets frozen, essentially a frozen puck.
And they've changed the rule this year. It used to be a drop, but the player who freezes it, his team loses the ball, loses possession. This will be a free kick for Kansas City.
In that situation there, Adrian Correa just pinned it against the wall with his thigh.
But that was the smart move. He had two Comets defenders on him, couldn't get the ball back to Toth.
Tatsane with a strike. It's just short on the near post. Here's Souza. He's just going to dump this ball up the boards. Neto's going to come out for it.
Unlike the outdoor game, hitting the referees is live. You don't stop the game just because it touches one of them.
Strike off the near side wall. Nobody running in on the back end. With Malhue with the strike.
Once again, Pereira wide open.
Here's a good opportunity, a strike, and we are level. It's Ramon Palmer. He's wearing a new number tonight, 49 on the back. It doesn't matter. He's still going to score his 9th goal on the season.
Take a look at this. Wide open, and in a way, it's a page out of the Tacoma Stars playbook, Peyton. Ramon Palmer got behind the defense. Nobody dragged back to see him just kind of drifting there. Turned around, quickly took it past Chris Toth. 2-2 tie. 3 minutes, 23 seconds left here.
And those goals just 2.5 minutes apart. That's how quickly things change in MASL, in indoor. I mean, the Tacoma Stars led for the first quarter and most of the second quarter, but now we sit 3 minutes from our halftime intermission, and we got ourselves a level game. Kansas City out shooting the Tacoma Stars right now on the in-house scoreboard, 16-10. Pereira backing down Pino. Stars need to find some juice. Seemed especially over those last 3-4 minutes. This high press that DeBray Holloman's throwing forward is working out extremely well for the Kansas City Comets.
Both teams have been utilizing the press at select moments. Seems to be working for Kansas City the last couple minutes.
Spur goes to ground, maintains possession. He's in a battle with Palma. This is Pereira. Spur takes over from Pereira. Romero was targeted in the middle. This ball gets hit into row 3.
Top of the arc restart. Would be an interesting time for Tacoma to take a timeout. Not too many teams will use their timeouts in the first half unless they're getting destroyed, but a goal here would be big. So it'll be interesting to see, even if they don't take a timeout, whether they look for Pereira wide or whether maybe Romero drops from the back post and like they look for him to make a cutting run.
And Pereira now calls for a timeout. Look at you, Nostradamus in the booth.
Hey, watch the game a year or two.
Let's step aside, take a break. 2:06 to play in the second quarter. Timeout on the floor. It's 2-2 apiece. Tacoma Stars, Kansas City Comets. You're watching MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Welcome back to the Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. Eric's being recognized on the big screen here. Eric, us broadcasters, we never really get put on the big screen all that much. Jumbotron in-house.
This is a lot here. I appreciate it, but it's a lot.
We are honoring the legend. Stars are on the free kick. Pereira plays this off the boards. Romero's strike is blocked. Stars missed out on a great opportunity. Vandergrift dumps out Holloman over the top. Ramos is chasing this down. He's pulled to the ground. Stars get a great foul.
And that play on the goal line shows why I believe Chad Vandergrift is going to get Defensive Player of the Year. Just a clutch block. Romero had looked like a lot of the goal just to tap it in, and Vandergrift got low pretty quickly.
Mendoza targeted it over the top. A great touch brought down. Neto with a great one-handed save. Kasim looks to play out. He goes for Tetsane. Souza gets himself to it, pushed to the ground and fouled. 90 seconds remain in the first half. Hansen goes all the way back for Toth. Long ball over the top. Pereira touches it off the wall. He's into a double team. Can't play himself out of it with a pass. Pino, sky-high clearance. Caceres heads all the way back for Toth, and he's going to use his hands. Two as it sits. Might be seeing this one go this way into the locker room. Correa with a strike. Neto gets low with a save. Maybe spoke too soon. Good play up the boards. Here's a good opportunity. Correa rushes all the way back. It was Malu who was playing himself off the wall. Tetsane is open in the middle. Toth reads it off the boards well. I think Chris Toth might be the best goalkeeper at reading that ball off the wall and positioning himself to get it when it's bouncing off.
A student of the game. He saw that one coming. No Wallace Scora going to be going against him on that play.
Good punch from Neto. Caceres with a long strike. It's going to take us into halftime. Eric, thoughts on the opening 30 minutes? 2-2 as it stands.
Looked like Tacoma was going to take off. Good jump to an early 2-0 lead. Thought they could have gotten 3, but both goalkeepers have been strong tonight. Comets just found a way to dig back in the second. It's anybody's game. Anything's going to happen here in the second half. Tacoma, I think they're just going to have to methodically find space behind that Comets defense. They need a win.
Stay tuned. We got second half action just around the corner, but right now we have Eric's latest episode of 10 for 10, and you're not going to want to miss it. The man, the legend himself, Eric Bergerud, has joined me in the booth tonight, and right now he's joining you on your screen for 10 for 10.
Welcome to 10 for 10, a series of interviews with personalities and dedicated leaders across the Major Arena Soccer League. I'm your host, Eric Bergerud. For this week's episode, I'm joined by legendary American soccer journalist Michael Lewis. Welcome to 10 for 10, Michael.
Thank you very much, Eric. Great to be on the show, and it was great to finally meet you at the MASL All-Star Game. I know we've spoken on the media, on the internet for years, but I feel like we're friends from way back when. But thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you. Let's get started. And you kind of foreshadowed my first two questions, so I'll go with the first one. So as you said, we recently met in person for the first time at the MASL All-Star Game in Utica. What was your general take of the event, and what did you learn from the players you interviewed?
I enjoyed the event. It was fantastic. It was a very good fan event. Memorable game, an all-star game where players actually tried. I'm not going to mention any other leagues, NBA, but I enjoyed that yes, it wasn't life and death, but I enjoyed the action, no doubt about it. I also enjoyed the fan fest afterwards, where the fans came onto the field and got an opportunity to meet their stars, get autographs. It was a big deal. I'm talking to some of the players. A little kid comes up for an autograph. I know what the responsibility is. I moved out of the way because it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I think we were all sports fans at one time. I thought the event was very well run. I give congratulations to Tommy Tanner and his staff. It was great for me because I got an opportunity to take the train up from New York City. It was a lot easier, believe it or not, than taking a plane because I didn't have to go through security or anything like that. And I could do work on the way back. And I wrote my column on the way back, like 2,000, 3,000 words about everything that happened. But an enjoyable time, definitely. I'd like to see the league do that again.
Although we finally met this year, our paths first crossed unofficially in 1985 at a United States Men's National Team World Cup qualifying match in Torrance, California, a match which eliminated them from the 1986 World Cup. Can you put into context for our viewers the concept of a U.S. national team featuring many indoor soccer stars of the day?
Yeah, at the time, there was no North American Soccer League, and the only league around where players could play in the United States on a regular basis was the Major Indoor Soccer League. So you had several players, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Crowe from the San Diego Sockers, and among other players who had like a double life. And it was not easy transitioning from indoor to outdoor. And I give Alkis Panagoulias, the U.S. coach at the time, a lot of credit just to get a team together. It did not turn out very well for the U.S. that night against Costa Rica. Costa Rica won 1-0, knocked the U.S. out of the World Cup qualifying exactly a year to the day to the start of the World Cup. There was a lot of irony in that, I think, as well, too. But back in the day, there were no other leagues where players were playing. And this was the only way for the U.S. To get players. Not the perfect way of doing things. Now, of course, it's a different universe out there.
So throughout this season, we're exploring topics related to the business of indoor soccer. How has the soccer media environment changed since you began covering the NASL's Rochester Lancers in the mid-1970s?
Tremendously. I think I've been spoiled because, okay, with the Lancers, no problem. Was a smaller market, but I could go into the locker room, talk to as many players as I wanted to one-on-one, and I prefer to do that. Mixed zones, press conferences, yes, I've been through them. Sometimes if you don't get called, you don't get your question thrown out there, but I enjoy going one-on-one. Through the years, one time, I'll go back to the 1985 U.S. national team game against Costa Rica. I was in the locker room with several other writers. We could go up to players. I remember Ricky Davis was at his locker, his head in his hands, knowing that he might not ever get to another World Cup again. And I put that into my story. These days, and I could understand because the media has grown exponentially, that they can't let us into U.S. national team locker rooms. There's a mix zone, and a mix zone can be a wild and crazy place. Sometimes it's all about, again, getting one or two questions in while you're holding your recorder or cell phone or whatever device you do have. There are a lot more media outlets out there. way back in the day, there were newspapers, radio, maybe some television. Now, newspapers as well, but you've got so many different internet websites out there that it's so difficult to count and to figure out who's legit and who isn't. It's up to the soccer communication directors to figure that out. It's a different time, definitely. One other thing I'll mention, it has nothing to do with writing, but I was in Trinidad. I hope I'm not getting into another question. I was in Trinidad and Tobago when the U.S. qualified for the 1990 World Cup. They allowed us into the locker room, and I brought my camera with me. It was a Canon film camera, and I took pictures of the players celebrating in the locker room. All PG-rated stuff, nothing X-rated or R-rated at all. I don't think I could do that today, but it was some of my favorite photos I've ever taken, because there weren't any other photographers in the locker room at the time. They were getting their pictures developed.
Back to the Lancers. What inspired you to write the Rochester Lancers history book, Alive and Kicking and Still Alive and Kicking?
Yeah. Years ago, when I was covering the Lancers, I knew that they were a different team, a special team. They were the antithesis of the New York Cosmos. Cosmos had everything. Lancers scraped for a lot of things. As I learned the history of the team at the time, and we're talking decades ago, I said, I want to write a book about them someday. And of course, our day jobs get in the way of things. And of course, mine did. And I slowly but surely over the years started to compile old articles, started to do interviews, started to write the first chapter I wrote was 1977. I didn't write it in order because that was the most memorable season I had with the team. But it was something I wanted to do before I died. I know that sounds crazy, but the worst thing to do is to go through life and say, damn, I should have done this. I know that sounds crazy. And as it turned out, I had extra time during the pandemic, and I completed the rest of the book. My wife was the editor, got yelled at a lot by her for how can you write like this, or people don't know what a brace is and you got to explain this. And I took it in stride, but it was a project, a passion project I wanted to do and let the world know that not everything was like the New York Cosmos back then. The Lancers, I won't say they were a typical NASL franchise, but they were a different franchise, and a lot of crazy and unusual stories. And I'm glad I did it. I didn't get rich from the book, but there's something to be said about following your passion.
In January 1992, you went on a record-setting trip with the Harrisburg Heat, as the then National Professional Soccer League team played 3 road games in some 48 hours, becoming the first NPSL team to win 3 away matches in as many days. What are your fondest recollections of that trip?
Surviving the bus ride, definitely. One thing I'll mention is the coach and general manager of the Heat was Jim Polahan, who was a member of the Rochester Lancers way back in 1977 when I covered them. He knew me as a person and as a writer. I told him I'm not looking, this is not a tabloid story. I want to do a 3-day in a life story, mega story about a soccer team on the road. Now, I didn't realize they were going to win all 3 road matches in that 48-hour period, which is pretty stunning. I did all my interviews, or not all, I did a lot of the background interviews of all the players on the bus. Got a chance to meet a young Bermudan player by the name of David Bascombe, who's now the Baltimore Blast coach. I think it's a lesson to any writer or a member of the media. By the way, don't burn any bridges, from Jim Polahan to David. But in terms of my most memorable moment, I guess it was probably the team winning its 3rd game in a 48-hour period. It was, just if you do it at home, that's pretty incredible. But when you're on the road, you're sleeping in different hotels, you're traveling all the time. It's not an easy thing to do. They had 3 very good opponents. What was it? Canton, Dayton, and Detroit. Maybe not in that order, but three challenging matches, but the players afterwards wanted me to go on every road trip with them for the rest of the season, and I said, sorry, I've got my day job back there. I took copious notes, and it was one of my favorite stories I've ever done, just because I think it gave a slice of life of what it was like on the road. And don't know if I would do it again at my age, but I'm glad I did it, and I hope maybe someone else will do it someday. A similar project.
Yeah. So final question. Does it seem surreal to you that Mark Pulisic was a rookie forward for that Heat team, and subsequently you have been covering his son Christian with the U.S. men's national team?
It was very, very surreal, but I also knew Mark from way back in 1987. I covered him in the it's the under-19 Eastern New York Youth Championship final game, and he scores 2 goals in the match, including the game winner in the waning minutes. And I wound up talking to him. At the time, he's just another player. I shouldn't say just another player, but he scored the winning goal. Got a chance to talk to Mark again. He remembered me. I remembered him, obviously. And I wound up doing a story about him trying out for a team in Croatia during some tough times there. But yeah, did I think that, wow, looking back at it, wow, he was going to be the father of the best U.S. player of our generation? No way. It's funny. I've gotten a chance to interview Mark since then, talking about Christian's early days, his career as well. People don't realize Mark had a fantastic indoor career, and it gets lost in Christian's honors and story, which I could understand, but I think that's one reason why I like to write about the history of the game as well, too, because people won't forget. I think it's important to remind people that there was soccer before us. And hopefully there'll be other writers. Nothing wrong about writing about it today. Don't get me wrong. I do plenty of that. But remembering what occurred before. But yeah, it was a surreal experience talking to father and son at different venues. No doubt about it.
Well, thank you, Michael, for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode of 10 for 10.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Catch MASL Monday every Monday night on MASL TV and CBS Sports Galazzo Network. Alex Bashavansky and Phil Levanko are joined each week by special guests from across the league to recap the weekend's games and discuss all the league's hot topics. Peyton Barron's Eric Bergerud here. Tacoma Stars, Kansas City Comets tied up 2-2. Eric, the playoff picture has been, not the playoff picture, but the playoffs have been secured for the Kansas City Comets. They will find themselves in sunny San Diego, California, for the playoffs. Tacoma Stars still trying to fight their way and get into those playoffs. Right now, this game means two very different things for these two teams. Kansas City's looking for positioning Tacoma's just looking to get into the dance.
So it's a 2-2 game right now. I'm sure that both coaches talked about adjustments they need to make, but for me, the pressure's on Tacoma right now. They have St. Louis breathing down their necks. Not too many games left. They need to grab points every possible day and every possible way. And so Tacoma's just got to find a way to do what they were doing early on in the first quarter. For Kansas City, this is a split squad because of injury, because of illness. And I think they've gotten to the point where they've decided, hey, we're in the playoffs, and we're most likely not going to get a 2 seed. So let's just get healthy, be healthy.
Ramos takes a great touch towards goal. Vandergriff, a better sliding challenge. Ramos still trying to maintain possession, but Vandergriff wins it back on the second chance. Here's a dump ball. Chase Hansen is in a foot race. He uses his body well. Pereira is all the way upfield. Neto is one-on-one with him. Here's Pereira on the dish. Pereira heads towards goal. Pereira strike, he scores! Neto cannot be happy with his lack of defense. It takes just 36 seconds, and Nick Pereira scores to open the second half.
Comets defense got caught way up, and maybe a little bit of a press, but we talked about it early on, Peyton, the transition game, and they have found a way to get Nick Pereira involved in that transition game. No Comets defender there, and he went low. Neto got a touch on it, but couldn't keep the ball out of the net. That's the way the Stars wanted to come out in the second half.
Nick Pereira was begging for that ball to be knocked forward, and he had all the space in the world. I almost thought Neto should have just one-on-one defended at that point.
He made a choice. Can't go back now and go the other way. Giveaway by the Comets.
Here's Briscoe. Briscoe's going to push forward. He's not going to wait for numbers. Briscoe goes square for John.
There was a former Tacoma Star who lived that game that Nick Pereira just showed you, and that was Steve Jungle, who would always hang out on the yellow line, hoping that no defenders realized that the Lord of all Endures was all by himself wide open. Scored so many goals over his storied career.
Here's Palmer coming forward. He's got himself the last goal for the Kansas City Comets. John with a little toe poke looking for Rivers. Reggett finds himself in a good position. Has Holloman running into the area. Holloman heel flick. Correa pokes it away. Correa now trying to lead the break. Here's Rivers going for it. Advantage was played as Correa's shoulder was pulled. Holloman gets a toe poke and gets Kansas City back in possession. Collision in the middle of the field off the ball. No whistle's going to be blown. That was a heavy collision. Briscoe ended up on the ground after colliding with Kyle Gregg.
Good poke away there from Kyle Rivers to regain possession for the Stars.
Logan Jones is on the field. He plays this ball back for Toth. Torres. Ball played into the middle. Toth comes out, makes a save. Jones was recovering. Eric, I'm very open about this, and I'll say this time and time again. I'm very biased, but Logan Jones was a snub in the All-Star game. This is a guy who was leading the league in blocks up until he had to miss a game with an injury. Logan Jones is one of the premier defenders, I think, in MASL who flies under the radar. His physicality and his speed are unmatched in this league.
We could get into the psychology of how votes are taking place. Let's just say for the fan version of the vote. It's kind of like high school when you're electing your student council leader. Sometimes the people with the most friends win, and you look at the teams that were represented there in the fans' vote. Tend to be the fans from teams that were heavy on social media that pushed them really hard to get out the vote, and unfortunately for Logan.
Hansen with a strike that goes just wide. Hansen called for the foul. So that's a hill that I am ready to die on until I see my good friend Logan Jones play in an MASL All-Star game. I will be screaming this one from the mountaintops.
Well, hopefully the All-Star game will be back next year. The replay shot went wide. Neto had near post covered. But yeah, hopefully they'll be back next year. I had a great experience calling that game up in Utica, and hopefully we'll see not only some of the the longtime faces, but some of the younger stars continue to get that acclaim.
Good turn, dangerous area, says Dirtle. Whistle blown, foul called. Correa, the victim. Subscribe today to MASL TV on YouTube. You'll find game rebroadcasts, MASL shows, highlights, and more. Jones runs past this one. Good opening, Tetsane. Dirtle, back for Tetsane. Mendoza slides through, slows it down for just the moment.
Toth just dared Dirtle to try to shoot it around him, and Dirtle thought about it. It's like, I'll just pass it to Tetsane instead.
Toth makes the catch.
Tetsane and Dirtle actually played in different years at the same college. Columbia College in Missouri, as did Nicolau Neto. Both these teams had done an exceptional job over the years of recruiting local, whether it's local colleges through reserve programs like Tacoma has, but both teams have players who played, whether it was collegiately or youth-wise, in their respective metro areas.
Yeah, we see that up and down the Tacoma Stars roster. Talked about often, guys like Adrian Correa, Tyler John, Logan Jones, being products of the Auburn area, Bonnie Lake area. We got some Franklin Pierce representation on here. Yakima, I mean, guys from just, great hotbeds of soccer around this Pacific Northwest region. They're just littered all over this Tacoma Stars roster.
I think the way to go, the teams that can somehow manage to score those free agents, the national free agents, but also cultivate their stars, no pun intended, are going to be the ones that are going to be successful.
And I love the addition when you see the former outdoor guys turn into indoor soccer players. Ramon Torres being one of those for the Tacoma Stars. There's been a handful of former Seattle Sounders who have put on the Tacoma Stars Argyle over the last few years. Lamar Nagel, James Riley, just to name a few. But nobody's been doing it better than Marco Fabian for the Empire Strikers. I mean, that dude is electric, and he is scoring 2.5, 3 points a game, it seems like, night in, night out. He is incredible to watch.
When you watch him in person, he's unreal. And it's great to have the opportunity to watch him, whether it's on MASL TV on YouTube or CBS Sports Golazo Network, but watching him play, the way he reads the game, and he can shoot and score from wherever.
Here's John running to the bottom of your screen. He's taken off of his feet a foul. Tacoma Stars will trot a free kick unit out on the field, and that's going to include Caceres and Pereira. Tyler John is getting escorted away from the area of the crime.
A little pushing going on, nothing too severe.
Tyler John's usually not one to shy away from physical contact. He likes it a little feisty when it comes to indoor soccer.
I think the Kansas City Comets might have a reputation around the league for being a physical team too, so you have to learn to adapt to the teams you play against.
Mendoza on the roll-up. He aims far post. You hear Romero is back. Pereira on a volley, and it was a beauty. Here's Ramos off the walls. Neto with a great swipe. Ball still bouncing around. Handball's going to be called on Ramos. Palmer maybe wants to delay a game. Ramos standing on top of the ball and in the way.
It's a 3-2 game, Peyton, but how many saves can you count both ways that took away a prime goal-scoring opportunity?
Yeah, Neto's been awesome. Here's Correa. He might have another one on his hands here. Rivers underneath him. Another handball issue for the Tacoma Stars. That ball just bouncing off the carpet and just punched down to the ground by Kyle Rivers.
I think this legitimately could be a 5-4 or 6-5 game. Both goalkeepers have come up big throughout this game.
Chris Toth playing a lot of sweeper keeper from what we're seeing in Neto. He's just doing everything with his hands. So far, pretty patient play to open up this second half. Both teams sitting back respectively of their opponents. We haven't seen that super high press just yet. Jones, he's in a battle up top with Greg. Briscoe, he turns using help of the bench. And now he goes for a change after passing with Souza. Here comes a little high press from the Comets.
And this is where Tacoma can take advantage depending on which players they set up. Pereira is going to jump off the far side of the bench.
These doubleheader weekends always so interesting, and this one being a doubleheader weekend across two cities. You're seeing the same two teams play each other Friday night, Sunday night. Spur goes for a drive. He's up the boards. Stalled for just a moment. But you always wonder what kind of roster changes might be made. Souza's fouled, free kick, dangerous area. Stars get a good opportunity. You're curious on what roster changes you're going to see from Friday night to Sunday night. I think the big one that's sticking out for me is Alessandro Canale. Just came back from his stint with the U.S. beach soccer team. Got his 100th cap there. Not rostered tonight. I fully expect to see Sandro Canale playing in Kansas City for the Tacoma Stars.
I think you'll see a few of the Comets players who weren't on this trip, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Philip Ejimadu starting in goal for Kansas City on Sunday.
Neto's off of his line by a good 3 feet. Caceres on the walk-up. Goes for Mendoza. Mendoza for Pereira. Neto gets reset. No shot for the Stars right off the free kick. Caceres gets pushed, and another free kick on the way. Palmer offers a helping hand.
I like to call those love taps. No major harm, but makes the opposing player know you're there.
There's absolutely a good place in the game for them, too. Here's a shot from Ramos. Good save by Neto. But it makes the attacker think the next time that they're standing on top of the ball that they got to watch out for some contact coming through. A little old school, but I love it. Here's a crafty heel flick, and Pino's on the ball now. Another guy, Eric, I'll tell you to watch out for on Sunday because I expect him to be rostered. He's not tonight, is Misa Lopez. He wears the 93 for the Tacoma Stars. He's a rookie call-up from the reserves team. But boy, has he been making an impact so far this season. Just one goal to show for it, handful of assists. Here's a shot. Toth had the near post covered. But Misa Lopez is electric as they come. Fast, physical, powerful.
I don't know if you noticed on that sequence, but
ball off the boards. Mendoza's got to settle. He chips this one away. Excuse me, Eric.
John Sosa stayed back a little bit to avoid getting countered, so he didn't come into the full offensive set, and he's behind the midfield line right now. He'll take a line change. Opportunity for Tyler John.
Here's a look. Tyler John trying to show off the speed. He goes to ground. Late whistle, but nonetheless a whistle. I think Tyler John thought momentarily that he wasn't going to end up getting a call. But Eric Pereira called for the foul in transition. Stars have a free kick. Here's a look.
And not enough force on that to merit a blue card. And the typical two hands up, I didn't do anything. The universal symbol for I fouled you, but I'm hoping the referees give me a grace.
It's like automatically just admitting guilt. And there's contact off the ball. A blue card is shown. That's Eric Pereira who
he got called that time.
It was off the ball contact as Romero tried making a run. Unfortunately for Kansas City, no challenge reviews remaining, no red flags left on the bench, so they can't review this to see whether or not it should be upheld unless the referees indicate a challenge,
Blue card
a video
for
review on their own.
above the shoulder.
I didn't see a lot of complaints there on the Comets bench.
And it was right in front of our referee. So we've made it to the media timeout. We'll step aside, take a break. 3-2 Tacoma Stars right here on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Get the latest news on the MASL and your favorite teams by following MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram and MASL Arena on Twitter. Peyton Barrett's Eric Berger here as the Tacoma Stars lead the Kansas City Comets 3-2. Tacoma will be a man up after the blue card for Eric Pereira. Tough situation right now. So far successful on a blue card opportunity earlier. Vandergriff caught himself into the box, and Kansas City was able to kill off that power play. We're into another one. Eric, right now, the Tacoma Stars, they didn't get many shots off on the first one. Do you expect the same in the second one?
I look for them to spread the ball, but what's interesting is Kansas City's pressing higher a little bit. That would leave Nick Pereira wide open, and he has two arms open in the corner wanting the ball. They couldn't get it to him.
This is Romero. Caceres. Spur down low for Pereira. Finally found the man in the corner. Chip ball Mendoza on the full, but he's under it and skies that one to Venus.
So Comets taking some chances there, pushing their two top players out a little bit. Nick Pereira slid wide. It's going to be incumbent on Tacoma to find him on this 2-minute opportunity.
Briscoe goes airborne on the header and sends it over the glass, over the bench, and it's out of play. So this is the kind of style that you want when you are in a man-down situation. You want to be able to slow the game down, try and take the air out of it. Reggett, shot, opportunity. John gets a poke to it. Time killed off well for the Kansas City Comets. They're going to have themselves a little reset. Stars get fresh bodies on the field. Spur back for Mendoza. Mendoza, his strike, it's deflected, goes sky high. Spur tried to challenge. Stars back under possession. Pereira. Romero. Pereira. Uh-oh. Danger lurking here. Comets coming out the other way. Caceres, time to tackle, but he was slightly late on the challenge. Comets with a free kick, under 30 seconds to play. What a breakout and what a break for the Comets.
Andreos did his job, got the foul. Reggett's out here. Comets look to kill some clock.
Neto comes out. Jones' header. Stars can't clear their own area, up a man. Jones, 10 seconds on the clock, tries to play Correa up the wall. Reggett's gonna have himself a chance, chested back. The Stars were under pressure in front of their own goal nearly as much as they put on the Comets when they were in a man-up situation.
Mentioned earlier, Comets penalty kill has been sensational this year. Could not find Pereira in key opportunities there, and we'll see if Kansas City comes back here, pulls one back.
Andreas was pressuring. Roman Torres plays back for Toth. Very clean touch. Toth dials up Pereira, long distance. Pino off the windows going forward. Pino plays himself up the walls around the young Nani Mendoza. Overhead kick falls straight for Toth. Pereira wanted it early, thought he had some space going for him. Hansen, square for Mendoza. John for Jones. Jones around one. Jones, Neto! It's a great save. John with the header. Ball crossed in. Jones heads it down for Souza. Tetsane now slows it down, brings it back. It's Jones' second opportunity tonight that he missed out on. Neto just made one heck of a save.
There's a section of Kansas City fans who weren't big believers in Nicolau Neto over the years, and we're happy to see Philip Ejimadu get called up in more playing time this year. But this game today shows you why Nicolau Neto was selected an All-Star, and that wasn't a fan vote. That was a player and coach vote to make him an All-Star.
I mean, he's faced 19 shots. He's only allowed in 3 goals so far, and it could be so many more. I mean, he has been standing on his head tonight. Low-scoring affair we got at the Accesso Showwear Center. Tacoma Stars playing host to the Kansas City Comets. Peyton Behrens and Eric Bergert here. Eric, the legendary color commentator for the Kansas City Comets. We thank you for legendary. Come on, you gotta own it.
I'm looking on my name tag. I guess.
Does it says broadcast legend right there on it.
It does.
Properly identified.
I've worked with one of the legends in the league, Nick Vassos, who's been texting me throughout the game. I'll see him on Sunday. When you work with somebody who's actually been doing it since the previous millennium, I know where I fit in the Kansas City hierarchy.
No, a great broadcast that you and Nick put on week in, week out. So, this league is lucky to have a crew like you guys. And what a fun year for you guys to be doing it. Kansas City has just been sky high so far this season. It has been excellent.
It's always more fun when you get to call exciting games rather than depressing games. So, regardless of who wins.
Well, we got an exciting one here. It's a low-scoring affair, 3-2. But, I mean, in my mind, 2 playoff caliber sides. Here's Toth, comes out quick.
You read that one again, right?
So
right up
good
the
off the angles. I mean, geometry major type of stuff. This guy, college degree in any sort of mathematics.
Nick Vassos just texted me and said, stop. I'll be back to carrying his suitcases or luggage back at Cable Dom Arena on Sunday, back in my regular position.
You're telling me they're not going to give you shout-outs on the Jumbotron?
Doesn't happen. No, I'm the guy who's like, get out of the way. I want to get a selfie with Nick Vassos or get an autograph for him. So, yeah, we're fortunate as a league to have great announcers all throughout the league. And the work rate, I think if all fans knew how much it took to put on one of these games, how much prep time goes in, it's quite something.
A little friendly fire there as Reggett was on the ground trying to get out of the way of the shot. He wore it to the rib cage. That's going to do it for the third quarter. Had an interesting contest so far. 1 goal in the third quarter, a blue card to show for it. Pretty quiet on the stat sheet for the second half to start. We should have an amazing final 15 minutes for you. Right here, it's the Tacoma Stars, 3-2 over the Kansas City Comets with 15 minutes to play in regulation, I might add. Last season, we saw this matchup find its way to overtime and a shootout. We might find ourselves there tonight. Don't go anywhere. Fourth quarter action is just around the corner right here on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomasstars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Welcome back into the Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington. Tacoma Stars leading 3-2 over the Kansas City Comets. Fans, it's never too early to start talking about playoffs, and in fact, they are just right around the corner. Join 8 of our teams, including these Kansas City Comets in sunny San Diego, as they square off in the MASL Ron Newman Cup playoffs, April 5th through 7th. Ticket deposits now being accepted. Visit frontwavearena.com or scan that QR code right there on your screen, and you can join the teams in the MASL playoffs this season. We're seeing a really good MASL playoff caliber style match right now. I mean, these are two teams that could very well end up playing each other in maybe a second round matchup if the Tacoma Stars are fortunate to A, qualify, B, win that first round matchup, because we won't see them matched up with Kansas City in that first round. But this is playoff quality soccer that we're seeing right now at the ShoWare Center. Eric, what's your thoughts been over these first 45 minutes of action?
Well, we were tied 2-2 at halftime. Tacoma started hot early. Kansas City just battled their way in, tied the game going into the half, and Tacoma did what it needed to do in the third, is just create space for Nick Pereira to let Nick Pereira be Nick Pereira, and that's the difference right now. For Tacoma, you cannot lose your concentration here, because you ideally need 3 points, meaning you need to win in regulation. Kansas City, they're already in the playoffs. Sure, would they like to win? Absolutely. Are they going to do everything they can to get points here? Absolutely. But Tacoma is feeling the pressure right now with not too many games left in the regular season and knowing they have to go to Kansas City on Sunday. So it's just going to be incumbent on Chris Toth to stand strong here in the fourth quarter, and no lapses either teams. And Kansas City, they're going to want a couple of those goals back. For Tacoma, this quarter is critical.
Tacoma desperately needs 3 points here at home. They had a 7-game homestand that they didn't do as well as they needed to during that 7-game homestand. I mean, I think ideally trying to get 6 wins in that situation was the goal. Came away with 5. So they did what they could in the 7 straight game homestand. They find themselves here in their final home game of the regular season. Here's a good look in the middle. Kasim, great sliding challenge by Briscoe. Second time, Toth can't cover the near post yet again. It's Wainwright. He gets himself a brace.
Joe Wainwright signed with the Comets, hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, but he's the type of guy who shows up at practice, grinds hard, shows up to games even when he's not playing, and he was just waiting for his moment. 2 goals, and he's making a statement there to Coach Stokic. I need some more playing time, Coach.
I think he's earned it. You go out on the road, you get yourself 2 goals, you level the game. So far, so good for Joe Wainwright. Stars need an answer. Here's Pereira. Pereira is one guy who can answer it. Crafty shot, drops it over his head over the top, takes the strike on the volley as the turn. It's a guy that the Stars love to rely on night in, night out, is Nick Pereira.
And he can score regardless of who's defending him.
I know that guys like that don't grow on trees, but seeing those in MASL, seeing Nick Pereira in MASL, we need more of those kind of players. He is incredible. You know, you're starting to see guys starting to play further and further up the ladder when it comes to their age. You wonder how much longer Nick Pereira has doing it. Here's a strike from Spur. It's blocked. Well done. Vandergriff on the outlet. This is a good look. Kyle Gregg in behind. Torres, sliding challenge, slows it down. Gregg stays on it. Caceres falls to the ground. Kasim plays wide. Strike is over the top. Here's Caceres again. But you wonder how much longer Pereira has in the tank. I mean, when you're the target forward, you can clearly extend out that career just a little bit longer than maybe the average MASL position. But you got to wonder with Nick Pereira, how much longer can those legs actually hold up?
The soccer IQ is obviously there. His finish is absolutely there. Just would want his knee to be a little bit healthier.
Palmer beats Tyler John, gets his jersey pulled. Foul's going to be called. I think that's what Nick Pereira, he's been dealing with this season, a little bit last season. That knee soreness. those body aches, they're coming up more and more. I don't think he's close to calling it quits anytime soon, but we might be seeing Nick Pereira maybe taking more games off in future seasons.
We get a lot of Milwaukee Wave games in the Midwest, and watching Ian Bennett playing and competing at a high level at age 41. The soccer IQ takes you a long, long way, especially if you're one of the best players like Nick Pereira and Ian Bennett have been over their careers.
And, you know, when you're talking those two guys, it's hard to mention, or not mention Craig Childs.
There's another one.
Just ageless wonder, Craig Childs.
And he's amazing because he gets himself in spaces where you wonder how come nobody's defending him. It's because he knows where he needs to be on the field at all times.
Toth with a clearance that only makes it to the midway stripe. Caceres a header, finds John. John couldn't get past the scoring Wainwright. Strike from distance, but it's over the top of everything and into the safety netting.
So the Comets and Stars head back to Kansas City for Sunday's game, and then the Comets end the season on the road next weekend. Games at Utica on Friday and Baltimore on Sunday. Neither an easy place to go in and win. I would not be surprised to see this sort of lineup appear at least one of those games, because teams are going to finish the regular season next weekend and then off to San Diego. If you're the Kansas City Comets, you're flying from Baltimore. If you could get a Sunday night flight out, if not, you're flying out Monday, a couple days of practice, and then Thursday you got to be in San Diego.
Pereira misreads this as it's off the lip of the wall. What's that look like for a team not West Coast based? Because the perspective here is if you get into the playoffs, you know, it's a short trip down from Tacoma to San Diego, short flight. But when you're talking about teams from the Midwest or over in, you know, Kansas City, and you're looking at playing a quote-unquote neutral site game, unless you play San Diego, who would then have home field advantage, what's that look like on the playoff perspective?
I think if you are in the Midwest and not playing on the East Coast the weekend before, it looks better. I'm sure the St. Louis Ambush would not mind at all that travel to San Diego.
Possession bouncing back and forth between the two sides. Here's Souza. Souza plays for Briscoe. He's got Pereira forward, but also 4 white shirts to deal with. He's taken off of his feet. Advantage is given.
Once again, Pereira got behind the Comets' defense. Once again, the Stars couldn't make that pass to him.
Pereira checks 2. Goes Mendoza. Mendoza square for Ramos. He misses out. He had a wide open chance on the back post. Mendoza played it beautifully. Here's Jones in a foot race.
He's going to regret that one tonight if the Stars don't wind up winning this.
Mike Ramos is a dynamic player. A massive combination of speed and just powerful shot. He used to shoot from everywhere on the field, and he's changed his game into being more of a setup guy who still has that speed, but he's in the latter days of his career. Palmer, square ball, Vandegrift. Tetsane for Reggett. A chip ball looking for Tetsane. That's a tough ball to play because I don't know what Tetsane can really do with that, even if it is, say, head height or chest height, because that ball's going to take him to the corner. Not a shooting opportunity. Doesn't have many numbers forward. Really a tough ball for him to handle if all goes as well as it possibly can. Romero passes before Holloman closes down. John settles, gets around Holloman. Holloman now tracking back. John with a shot. It's deflected up into the plexiglass, just below the netting. Romero is scrambling to keep possession. Here's Hansen.
Once again, it was Vandegrift on defense for Kansas City.
Romero plays spur off the wall, trying to avoid that high press. Romero's still going forward on the run. John gets a toe poke in. Caceres now battles with Palma. 8:35 to play in regulation. We are tied at 3 apiece. Souza, he gets pulled. Blue card immediately. And it's the ups and downs. It's the flows of the game. Andreas found himself in great positions earlier, had excellent strikes, and now he's pulling Souza from behind, and the Stars go up a man for 2 minutes.
That was one of those twos you take when you're beaten and you don't want to give up the go-ahead goal. And here's an opportunity once again for Tacoma on the power play.
If you disagree with the call tonight, you might just see it on MASL's most controversial show, Under Review, with Phil Levanco and MASL head referee Ryan Sigich. Catch it every Friday on YouTube.
Had a jam-packed episode that debuted today.
You know, I love the content that this league produces, including you with 10 for 10, Under Review, fantastic stuff, MASL Mondays. And so, you know, you just get really great content from the league. But we are at the media timeout. We'll step aside and take a break. Don't go anywhere. It's 3-3 apiece. Tacoma Stars, Kansas City Comets right here on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Welcome back to the Accesso Showwear Center in Kent, Washington, and made it just back in time for this power play. Peyton Barons, Eric Bergud. That was not the media timeout, so we will have the media timeout when we get to the under 8 mark. We were taping up some of the floor that had come up just in front of Chris Toth's net. Here is Yahir Romero, plays inside. Ramos, he's turning. Vandergriff wants to lead the break. Advantage was played as Ramos got tangled up. This ball gets pushed out for Kasim. Neto is all the way out of
Delayed
his net.
2 minute. The back referee called a 2 on that tangle up, and Comets wanted to go 6 attacker. Could not maintain possession. And what started off as a great opportunity for Tacoma on a power play, both teams are going to be with 4 plus the goalkeeper.
And I didn't see who initially was in that collision. Perhaps it was Mike Ramos.
Yeah, Ramos is going to be
2
walking
minutes
over.
time penalty for holding, number 25.
So a very short-lived power play for the Tacoma Stars. We are now to 4 apiece.
For this situation, Peyton, the field is going to be opened up with 1 fewer player. And so I think there's an opportunity for both teams to try to create space. And now I think we're going to get the media timeout.
And we have made it to the media timeout. You are correct. We will step aside for a quick break. 3-3, Tacoma Stars, Kansas City Comets, right here on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Get the latest news on the MASL and your favorite teams by following MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram and MASL Arena on Twitter. Peyton Barons, Eric Berguda here. Tacoma Stars, Kansas City Comets, 3-3. We have made it past the media timeout, and we should have an exciting final 8 minutes of action here at the ShoWare Center. Nothing to divide these two teams so far. We're playing in a 4-on-4, Eric. I think your prediction was a goal is bound to come here in this 4v4.
If you set it up properly, absolutely. So look for isolation, Tyler John out instead of Nick Pereira. And so a little bit more pace out there right now for the Tacoma Stars.
John takes a shoulder up high, no call, play on. Here's Palmer. John recovers, slows it down. This is Dirtle. Neto wants to get forward. He wants to get into the mix. He turns it over. Jones looks up. John's in front of him. Correa's pushing. Here's John. He's going to cut it back. Stars running a penalty kill unit with Caceres, Jones, John, Correa. Tyler John's going to go for a change here with this ball going all the way deep into the defensive end. Pereira is going to check on. Toth is going to slide forward as a fifth attacker. Stars going to play patient. They only have 15 more seconds until Kansas City is back up to 5 players. So I don't know if I agree with this, having Pereira be on the field with the fact that the penalty is just about to expire. Pereira's going to take this ball to the corner. Stars now got to go 30 seconds down a man. Pereira cutting back and forth. He takes a strike. Neto wears it to the chest. Correa to the center of the field. Stars down a man. Correa gets fouled. 18 seconds left in the power play for now Kansas City, who is up a man.
It worked out for Tacoma. Nick Pereira did get a shot on goal, but comfortable save for Nicolau Neto, and looks like Tacoma will kill off this short penalty for Kansas City.
15 seconds separates even strength here. Tyler John follows this all the way down to the glass, heads it down. Stars watching the clock. Jones goes back for Caceres, can't go back for Toth. Caceres gets pushed, he's fouled. We are back to even strength. Mike Ramos is out of the box. What a strange 4-on-4 and up man situation for either side there. So untraditional, and I mean, MASL, you see something that you've never seen before on any given night.
That's why you have to keep watching, Peyton.
It's beautiful. I mean, I can't wait till I get to the point where I'm decades into MASL, and I'm still fairly new into MASL. I mean, this is year 7 involved with the Tacoma Stars for me. Here's Pereira. Goes down low for Mendoza. Andreos leading the break. He goes off for Kasim. It's played off the wall. Toth jumps out to snag it. I will say my first Tacoma Stars game, though, was the 2013-14 season. I was a senior in high school. Came out and watched Derek Johnson had me come out to a game. He was one of my former coaches. And Derek Johnson, I had front row seats for the LT Gray show. Long ball finds Pereira. Backing down Vandegrift. He lays off for Caceres, just too high. Caceres might have another chance. Didn't want to try and take it on the right foot. And now here's a chip ball over the top that Spur is chasing down. Plays back for Toth. I think Willie Spur has been a great addition to the Tacoma Stars just a few years ago. Souza with a drive.
Another big block by Vandegrift, too, because that was definitely on frame. Good opportunity there for Tacoma. And they're just finding their moments.
Take another look at this. Quick little step over, leaves one in the dust. Vandegrift gets low. what a fun player to watch. I mean, I'm so impressed. And when you don't see teams often, like Kansas City coming up here to Tacoma, and you get to watch Chad Vandergriff in person, he's so impactful with his play all over the field. Big challenge from Kyle Rivers. Holloman once blue shown. He's frustrated.
In my game notes, Peyton, I have a bullet that reads, "Not every foul is a blue card." And it works both ways.
It's almost like in European soccer now with VAR, with video assistant referee. Every player after every foul draws the box with their fingers because they think everything needs to go to video review.
Exactly.
I'm glad that motion has not made it into MASL yet, where every player is just signaling and drawing a imaginary box with their hands.
You will occasionally see people doing that, but more so it's pointing to the coaches to throw the flag.
Here's a good cut into the middle. 3:30 separates us from overtime. Golden goal overtime if we get there.
Oh, there's plenty of time for a goal or two still in regulation.
Ball gets centered. Here's Ramos. I don't disagree with you. Ramos with a step over. He's pulled to ground. Still battling, drops back. 3 minutes on the clock. We might see even 3 goals, a goal a minute. Pereira gets this ball rolled all the way off the ground. He hits this off the wall to the backside. Caceres was crashing. Correa has to go gadget the legs to bring that ball down. Kasim does a good enough job poking it away. Long ball out. Toth.
What a first
Pillow-like
touch.
My goodness. Techers Tuesday happens every day for Chris Toth. Here's a ball into a dangerous spot. Toth is beat around the short side wall, but the Stars recover well. Pereira tracks back far enough to win it. Pirouettes over the ball. He keeps possession through the physical contact. Look at Nick Pereira go. Watching Nick Pereira dribble a soccer ball at his feet is like watching the running of the Bulls in Spain.
Good step.
Here's Correa with a strike. The Stars take the 4-3 lead. Adrian Correa, his second of the night. Under 2 minutes to play. The Stars recapture the lead.
It wasn't Nick Pereira, but too much space available for Correa. Dribbled through a couple defenders, slotted it low, and I think Kansas City is going to take a timeout.
Correa has his second. The Stars lead 4-3. Timeout on the field, and we'll take a break. You're watching Major Arena Soccer League on MASL TV.
Daytech is an IT enterprise infrastructure provider covering networking, security, and more. Email us at sales@daytechinc.net to learn more about Daytech.
The Tacoma Stars are back and they're ready to turn things up a notch. Don't miss out on your chance to see the Stars in action live this season at the Accesso Showwear Center. Experience the fast-paced action of Tacoma Stars soccer for yourself. Head to www.tacomastars.com or call 253-856-6999 to get your tickets to an upcoming game today.
Welcome back into the Accesso Showwear Center. The Tacoma Stars just took the lead on the Adrian Correa solo effort, took his space, took his shot, and now we're going to start. Kansas City's going to kick off with the 6th attacker on the field. Peyton Barron's Eric Bergerud here. Eric, 2 minutes for Kansas City to try and level this thing and send it to overtime. We got a good one on our hands tonight.
We do. And the last 6 attacker Kansas City utilized Mikey Lennis, not here on this trip. So Lucia Tetsane dons the gold 6 attacker jersey.
This is Tetsane here, battling Correa. Correa's got 2 goals tonight for the Tacoma Stars. Pino. Palmer. Skip pass across for Tetsane. Stars have their fast 5 on the field. Rivers, Jones, John, Correa, Caceres. Palmer's in the middle. It's a great challenge from Rivers. Poked out forward for John. John couldn't close down Pino fast enough to win the ball, but he slowed him down enough. 60 seconds remaining tonight in regulation. Tetsane. Pino. Kansas City carefully waits, trying to pick out their moment. These two sides meet again Sunday. Ball poked all the way downfield. It's not going to have enough speed. Pino's going to be able to chase this guy all the way down to the wall. 20 seconds, Eric.
Hail Mary if this were a Seahawks game, huh?
We've seen a few of them, even a Fail Mary here. Palmer tries to go for Reggett. John, full length of the field, one bounce, and that one finds its way home. The Tacoma Stars nail in the coffin. Tyler John hits that ball all the way from Olympia, up 167, and it finds its way in the north side goal.
Wait a minute. 3-line pass.
Oh no, take another look. This one gets pulled all the way back. John's behind the yellow line, and it's gonna be a reset. There's a timeout on the field. We're gonna keep it here. What a crazy change of play. Tyler John goes full field, full distance, 3-line clearance. This brings this ball all the way back. And now Kansas City is going to get themselves a restart in a dangerous position. If I'm Kansas City, I'm asking the referees to go and check what the time on the clock is right when that ball bounces once on the 3-line clearance.
Well, that's really smart, Peyton, and I think maybe that Zach Reggett, tonight's captain, was having that conversation. So the referee crew are going to take a look at this. So top of the arc restart.
2.6 seconds left is what was on the clock when that ball went into the net and the in-house clock stopped. I got to imagine that you're going to have 3.5 seconds. Maybe you get yourself an extra second. That ball bounced, stood up in the air for just a second, just a moment. But Tacoma, they got to pack it in for one more free kick here. Eric, you've watched a lot of Kansas City Comets soccer. Right now, I know that this is a split squad that you're dealing with Kansas City. But where is this free kick going? Who's going to receive the pass to take the shot? Or is the shot coming directly off of the set piece?
I would expect them to want to go outright. I would expect to see Tetsane out there, Reggett out there. Both of them are left-footed players. I would expect to see Ramon Palmer over the ball, but we'll see. Right now, the Comets are short a player out there.
Just 5 on the field. Tetsane is wearing the 6 attacker jersey. This would be a blatant miscommunication if another Comet doesn't slide himself onto the field.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they haven't figured out. There we go.
And Kasim, he makes his way onto the field. Not a great time to have a brain lapse.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that. So, yeah, Ramon Palmer on the
ball. The actual time left in the match is 4.5 seconds.
4.5.
Wow, that's a big difference.
That's either 2 passes or maybe a couple different shots.
I think Reggett is going to be the pass here from Palmer. That's the bottom right side of your screen in that very bottom corner. Tetsane's in the yellow shirt. Reggett looks like the guy, but Correa's going to sag off and take away that pass. Maybe cheat a little bit to go over towards Tetsane. Let's see what Palmer and the Comets have dialed up. This ball shot, strike, Toth makes the save. Ball bouncing around. Reagan scores before the clock ends. A tie game. Oh, goodness gracious. The Kansas City Comets level it with under a second to play in regulation. How about that?
Didn't I say at the 3-minute mark that maybe there were a couple goals still left?
Oh, yes, you did.
There's the second one.
Caceres had himself in a good position on the goal line, but the reactions just weren't fast enough. The Stars want to review on the clock to see how much time was left. Oh boy, this game's got everything.
And Kansas City's like, what are you looking at here? There's 0.9 left.
This weekend, the opening weekend for the NCAA March Madness tournament, both the men's and women's. But we got ourselves some March Madness here in MASL.
So I couldn't tell whether they were looking for a foul in front of Toth or whether this is a time thing. But in the end, maybe we'll get a chance to see what Kia Depana is looking at.
So in the Stars, both teams used their video review challenges in the first quarter. So this is not a team-directed video review. This is directed by the referees, though it was following lots of protests from the Tacoma Stars.
So watch right in front of Chris Toth. Chris Toth raised his hand immediately. So what they're wanting challenged is right. Maybe we'll take another look at it. Right in front of Toth.
Toth comes out, dives on the ball. He turns and looks.
They're wanting a handball.
On Reggett?
Is it Andreos? Andreos before Reggett. So there's the pass to Malhu. Shots. Oh, they're wanting on Reggett. You're right.
I don't know if we get a clean enough look, a clean enough angle that shows this.
We'll see.
After review, there was an attacker handball. The restart is free kick for Tacoma.
Handball's called. Fans love it.
Where did you see it? And the Tacoma Stars are going to get out of here victorious. This is going to restart with Chris Toth. The clock will run out on his throw. Kansas City cannot like how this one ended for them. They did everything, battled down to the wire. Reggett is having all sorts of conversations with all the officials that will listen, anyone remaining.
Well, ultimately, the referees do have discretion on video review. They made the choice to take a look. They saw the handball. Tacoma bench obviously was sure they saw it, but Chris Toth, to his credit, raised his hand immediately right after the goal. And video review, you would say, as a Tacoma partisan, positively affected the outcome of the game in terms of not allowing. There's going to be a yellow card on Debre Holloman, who needs to go away, and a yellow card to Stefan Stokic, the head coach.
And Debre Holloman's got to keep his head here just in case of anything. This is the part of the game that we don't love seeing when everything hits the fan and things are off the rails right now. Debre Holloman needs to make sure he's eligible for Sunday. He doesn't want to keep this up and find himself with a second yellow card and potentially facing a suspension. Tacoma Stars, all they got to do is put this ball in play. Neto is nowhere even near the net, because once this ball goes in the air, it's not going to make it all the way down to the goal. Reggett is still fuming.
Stars did what they had to do to grind out those 3 points, Peyton. And there's your game.
Toth's going to drop the ball. The horn sounds. The Tacoma Stars get a win. Chaos is what we had here at the ShoWare Center. And Kansas City, a team that's already found their way into the playoffs, a team that has 14 wins so far on the season. They go on the road to Tacoma, drop a tough one, Luckily enough, these two teams get to face off again this weekend, Sunday afternoon, and we should be seeing an amazing contest ahead of us Sunday. This is the beauty of MASL, is how many good games we get night in, night out.
Totally, and if you're a Comets fan, you might feel a little bit dismayed or cheated, but ultimately the video review is there for a purpose in this league, is to make sure that the right calls determine the game.
And do you feel that was successfully used today, Eric?
Well, I mean, for sure, both teams were out of challenge flags. There was a goal scored with less than a second left. In some controversy, the referees absolutely made the right decision to go to the box to take a look at that, because why wouldn't you if you have the technology available?
It's a tough loss for Kansas City, and it's going to be a hard one to swallow traveling back. We got an on-field interview. Adrian Correa is down there, so we'll step aside. Let's take this interview, and we'll be right back with post-game thoughts.
Feeling excited, man. Glad we can get another home win, and it's big for us going into playoffs and trying to get that eighth spot.
You got that game-winning goal with about 2 minutes left. Tell me what you're thinking.
Man, I was thinking we needed something. The crowd was giving us a lot of energy. We kind of felt it on the field, so I was trying to get something going for us. And luckily, I got a shot and kept it low, keep it on target. So
it was a beauty, golazo indeed. You got 2 games left of this playoff push. What are you looking for those next 2 games?
I'm looking to keep this momentum rolling like this, to get a home win, our last home game, to get a crowd like this, to feel the energy in here. Hopefully, we can keep it going through playoffs. So hopefully, we can bring a title back. That's the goal.
Awesome. Well, good luck in those next 2 games. Adrian, give it up for the Stars, baby. Adrian Correa.
Tacoma Stars make a big push towards their playoff hopes. The Kansas City Comets will be down in San Diego for the playoffs in April. Eric, it's been an amazing night. I thank you so much for joining us tonight. We just saw such a fun, amazing game. You have final thoughts on what we just saw unfold, a 4-3 victory for the Tacoma Stars, but 60 minutes of fantastic soccer.
A great game for the home fans, a great opportunity here for Tacoma to build some momentum heading towards the playoffs. And just on a personal note, thanks for making me feel so welcome, not only you, Peyton, but the entire Tacoma Stars organization.
Eric, I think tonight was just a massive success for us in the booth and for everybody involved. So you are welcome back in this booth anytime you want. If Kansas City's traveling up here next season, I do hope that you come with the team and you join me again on the microphone.
Would love to be back, Peyton, and I know this is the last regular season game. Who knows? Maybe Tacoma will get on a roll and bring the Ron Newman Cup finals back this way.
That's the hope. The Tacoma Stars looking to try and make the playoffs, go find themselves in that bubble environment down in San Diego for those first 2 rounds. Then it goes to a home-and-home series for the MASL Ron Newman Cup. Hopefully that the Tacoma Stars, maybe the Kansas City Comets, find their way there in a little home-and-home action for the Ron Newman Championship, and that would be such fun to see. But we thank you so much for joining us from this broadcast, wherever you're tuning in from. If you're one of Eric's faithfuls there in Kansas City, we thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast of Major Arena Soccer. Another good one tonight. The Tacoma Stars win 4-3 here at home in their home finale for the regular season. We hope to see you next time. We hope to see you for the Ron Newman Cup Championship right here. And if not, we'll see you next season. Thank you for everybody here with the Tacoma Stars, everybody at Mission Control. For Eric Bergerd, I'm Peyton Behrens, our technical director, Maximus Lockhart, signing off for one last time in this 2024-2025 regular season. Have a fantastic night, everyone.